Doom whales. Yeah, this whole setting, I actually hate this setting. It's very good at what it does. It's gross, it's dirty, it's dingy, and it's doomed. And honestly, if I was to summarize the entire setting in one sentence, that would be it. Also, getting a sub from Diesel. That's also part of it.
There was nothing personal in this, even though you almost sank our plans. But it turned out well. You were in the wrong place at the right time, and someone has to take the fall. Goodbye, Corvo.
Guards! Take him back to his cell.
Yep, they're evil because they're bald. Wait. Yes, this is explaining how the outline system works, how looting works. Refill on ammo, refill on items, get money. Cool. Guy, of course, starts advantageous to us.
Stupid rats. Plague. Elixir. Bunch of crap.
So let's talk about ghosting. First. That's not ghosting. Bricks! Yeah, I do actually want to point out the bricks. I know, shocking. But I mean this sincerely. There's actually two things I want to talk about in this area before we move forward. Bricks and the doodads. But also, when I say brick, everybody who knows me knows brickwork just refers to any of this stuff. It's not just the bricks. It's just, it usually comes up on brick. Yeah, that's great, Oculus. They're funded. Pick something else. So, it's probably not immediately apparent to anybody not familiar with texture design and all that fun stuff, but these don't look like bricks. And I like it. In fact, I like it a lot. These look like... Here, let me try to get a good angle. So, that right there. Okay, you see that shot right there? Pretend for a moment that you're not actually looking at a video game. Instead, pretend for a moment that you're looking at a painting.
Attention, citizens of Dunwall.
Because you are. So, obviously, this stuff is very stylized. It's not patterned. Like, in fact, at a glance, I can only see one repeated pattern on this particular screen. But what you're seeing here is someone actually painted the textures to make them look like that oil painting aesthetic we've already talked about. And it's not really all that noticeable unless you're really looking at it or you're getting up close, which is why I'm drawing your attention to it. But I do love this. I love this approach to it because it makes the whole game, at a glance, without you even really processing it, look like you're playing in a painting. Aesthetic. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't look like a photo. It doesn't look photorealistic. There's no bit mapping or bump mapping or anything like that. In fact, here, I'm pretty sure, yeah, we can just prove it. It's just straight flat. But we can tell that someone sat down and either painted or made the texture and then stylized it to look like it was painted, specifically to maintain that aesthetic. And that's why I was putting to the ground, too. The ground's actually more obvious. The ground literally looks like splotches of paint, as you can see. You can almost see where the brush strokes are when you're looking at it. So I like that. It's good aesthetic, and it really adds to the style of the game. It makes a game that is 11 years old look pretty good, my opinion, even now. This is true everywhere, too. If you really zoom in on, like, even the textures in the metal, same thing. It looks like someone has blotched it out. Which is probably the wrong word, but I don't know. I don't care. Eva will correct me, and she'll punch me and beat me up because she's Superman. Let's see, so I swear I'll shut up about the bricks at some point. But in this first, I just want you to look at this, because the attention to detail on this screen is actually kind of crazy good. It's not the usual approach to doodad design in brickwork that I tend to see. It's instead just a lot of thought has been put into making it look, I think the word I want to use here is believable. Like, yeah, you've got the broken tiles, you've got a little bit of litter and trash here and there. You got the seat cushions over on their left, which first of all are red, which pulls it in. Yeah, it's lived in. Thank you. It's lived in. It looks like a place. It looks like it looks like a Star Wars. Let's just call it what it is. You can't even see through the glass because it's so tinted. We've got this lovely stained glass setup up over here. Probably one of the best maintained sections of the area. The wood, it's hard to see from this angle, but if we move up here, this looks like someone tries to clean this, but it hasn't actually been cleaned in a decade. We've got how just ignore the trash for a second. Look at how scuffed up the floor is. how probably no one's actually waxed this floor in, again, forever. And yeah, there's that lovely, lovely dog, whatever it's called, the hound, the symbol of the pub up there. Even that's a little bit tainted, but again, probably one of the most well-maintained things here. We've just got debris. I love this crap. This is great. Okay. Now we just need to nudge it forwards. Whoa, that was disorienting. Damn it, Yura, I can do better! Whoa, shoot. Where am I? Oh, God. I'm on the... There we go. Okay, okay, okay. Hang on, hang on. I got this. I got this. I got this! I got this! What is happening to me? Oh, Jesus. Okay, hang on. You cannot save her. You cannot save her. You cannot save her. Do you want me to read this whole thing?
It'd be good to have him back here at the Hound Pits.
You got it. Alright, so. Oh, come on! Damn it. You can go non-lethal, I believe from this point onwards. Yeah, I just ghosted him. Alright, quick, quick, run! Run! Oh no, wrong button, wrong button. Oh, damn it! I hit the wrong button. No promises.
Just wondering, sir, if you thought about perhaps seeing Piero before venturing into the overseas.
God dang it.
Hurts.
No, he didn't.
No, stupid goddamn Dublin son of Ireland
Aha! There's another way you could get through the wall, Black Malkin. I didn't know that one.
Huh?
Nothing to see here.
Huh? What the fuck?
Language? I'm sorry, I'm fighting a headache and I'm tired. Please forgive me here. Let's talk level design for a second. This is a very basic example of what I'm talking about, but I want to showcase it so I can literally show you what I mean when I say all roads lead to Rome. Here's where we are. Our destination's up there. How do we get there? Well, we are... no, it is not, Wraith. We are bottlenecked by this. There might be another route. I don't know. But the point is, this is, in many ways, our limitation. We have to go through this in order to get up. So this is Rome. All roads lead to Rome. How do we get here? Well, look at the layout of this place. So we start off... All these doors are closed. We've got, what was it, 3 guards patrolling? Or was it just 2? It was just 2. So we got 2 guards patrolling. We got this guy just kind of hanging out over here. We had that guy over there. Both of them, between them, effectively cover all of the open space. The obvious open space between here. Okay? Cool. Now we start off with this door closed, but it's a glass door, and they're facing away from us. So we have a few seconds to gather ourselves and think. What do we see immediately? First things. We see the destination on the left. It's obvious even from here that's a staircase. We see an open door on the right. So we now have 2 possibilities without even thinking about it, without even actually examining the room. We sneak our way in. We could just kill the guy, which is what we did. Let's got a door on the right and a door on the left. Door on the left is a little more exposed, a little bit further distance, but pick up the key on the way over here. A little bit more reward for a little bit more risk. On the right end, we can go over to the side here. There was a third guy. I know there was a third guy. We can go through the... Now, this guy's just kind of being a dick here, but it's okay, because this is when we use this, because he patrols in here, so we need to figure out where he's at. Okay, cool. We managed to deal with him, or hide, or kill, or however we deal with him. We've got a couple of options through this room. That remains exposed. But once we get this far, we're effectively in the clear. Until we get up to this door. Keyhole again. This guy patrols right around here. Big problem. Okay. So we have a couple of options to get through that, including just sleeping him, trying to sneak by quickly, or killing him. Or we can take out this guy, move over there. Or we can make our way all the way back, having secured one side. Try to deal with it from the other angle, which could cause its own problems, but given the way he patrols, there is a moment when he'll be looking that way on that part of the hallway where we can sneak by pretty much effortlessly here. You get the idea. None of these are good, bad, or in between. The whole point is that you have options. The whole point of all of this exercise is that however you want to go through this is how you can go through this. Whether going quiet, going loud. And then there's your magic kit, too. I'm just talking about things like movement and like your sword. And that's it. Yeah, there's the furniture, there's the rats, which we refused to release earlier. There's your freaking teleport, which can be used carefully to avoid vision entirely. This is just a tiny little sliver, but I think it's a good way to demonstrate why I love these games so much. This is the level design that makes these games awesome for me. So this is a living person. So that was a living person. I'm over here. Shoot. Really? I thought he was... Hey! Nope. That might have just been because it took too long.
You! Who are you?
Very dignified pose there. Stop running, you coward. There we go. There you go. Okay. Special kill animation. Try one other thing really quick. I don't know what the range is on these things, so I'm going to be a little bit close about that. This is going to take me a minute, so just give me a minute. Give me a minute. Tell me, does this look about spaced right?
If he doesn't bring the young lady forth soon, there will be infighting among the nobles as to who should succeed the Empress.
Ah! Come on!
But now you should take a well-earned rest, Corvo. We will decipher the contents of the High Overseer's journal and share them with you later.
What? Did all that work? Did all that setup? Whatever.
We take the fight to them.
There's no proof.
The rats are...
Someone get over here!
Oh, Jesus.
Take this!
Well, I guess that's how we're doing things now. See, this one, these two were caught in a tryst by these two. We're also doing their own thing. Now, they were having some issues. Because this guy, well, he got it in himself to go ahead and actually be like, oh my god, can't believe you would do that. So they had to deal with him. Now, not in a negative way. They bribed him with paperwork. Because he loves paperwork. That's his favorite thing to do, is just playing paperwork. Yep, we did it. The day is saved. We saved Peach. It's cool. Who would I trust in the Mass Effect game? Other than myself, of course. You, clearly. Also this guy.
Why be scared of anything?
Hey, you there! Show yourself! City Watch, wake up! We've got some low-life...
What?
Clear the line!
What? Are they...
Your fish bait now.
Okay. I'm... Okay. Do I have any grenades on me?
Won't stay hidden for long.
No reason. That... you... Dude? Dude? The blast deafened him, so he's just like, I don't know. Okay.
Obviously, it's because the ones already sick with plague don't live long enough to provide Sokolov with any useful motivation.
It's just a shame is all. Like that woman the other day. She was
All
easy
these
to look
rats
at.
crawling all over
Seemed
her.
nice enough. Shame she has to die. I mean, and so horrible like too.
Now you listen to me. It's none of our concern the how or why of things. And if you want your elixir rations, then I suggest you stop your wondering. These are pigs. Pigs for Sokolov's experiments. And pigs mean nothing to me. Understand?
Right. I mean, why worry about a couple of disgusting smelly pigs, you know? All pigs get slaughtered sooner or later. Better if I wonder about those sounds we heard from the warehouse, right? I mean, what was that all about?
That's better. You'll go far, Grayson.
So, base Delta Zero. I repeat. Hammer down is in effect. However, I will admit, I don't actually remember if I played this DLC before. I feel like I had. I know I didn't stream it. I don't remember if I actually played it or not on camera. Or in general, excuse me. In general. Here, could you hold this, please? Thanks.
Who are you? What is it you want? Money? Elixir against the plague? I don't know how you got past all the defenses, but I think I can assume if you wanted
Leave me
dead,
be.
well,
Now here, have some elixir.
we'd be having this
Please, no
conversation.
more.
Everything within my power to give you is yours. If you'll just let me go. I can see you are an intelligent man, so you understand there will be repercussions if you should harm me. I am the royal physician, head of the Academy of Natural Philosophy. Stay back! Have you no heart? Please!
I'm just standing here, dude. Sorry, so one other thing that occurred to me last night. This is one of the first games we've covered where we get to actually showcase something I've been talking about for a while. Not the first, but one of the first. I'm gonna go ahead and... I'm gonna put this in the highlight reel here, because this is something we're talking about. So, the way the system works is we can give up to 3 positives for a single thing, right? Except, that sounds like we can give up to... Some people have interpreted that as we can give up to 3 things per category, but that's not how it works. And the problem is most things can be zoomed in substantially. So let me use the direct example that's come up right here. Level. Okay, here's a good level. So we can only give 3 positives to the level, right? No, because there are several things that make up a level. there's the terrain design, there's the enemy placement, there's the item placement, there's subquests within the level, there's routes through the level, there's enemy, the actual enemy design of the level, enemy encounter formations of the level, what boss the level has, if any. You get the idea. All of these things make up what is technically an aggregate. This is one of the reasons we don't really use aggregates anymore. It's because we actually do use aggregates constantly. We just don't call them that anymore. But if I give a plus to level, that's an aggregate positive. Make sense? So I was thinking about this because these levels, some of the levels in this game, are sufficiently good that we can finally zoom in further and give individual pluses for individual aspects of the levels. This is, of course, immediately relevant for the level we're about to do. Because you get the idea. How do I explain this? Something I tend to notice is there's a fairly basic... Oh, it's down to 4, excuse me. There's a fairly basic difference between simple writing and complex writing. And I point that out. Yeah, it's weird. It's like I read all my comments. I'm just poking fun. Complex writing usually takes into account more nuanced takes or more steps, more layers behind an idea. A simple idea is, let's start a war to try and revitalize the economy. Now, the reason that's a simple idea is because there's no depth to it. You can expand depth into it, but the idea I just gave you is a simple idea. War, economy. Not Metal Gear Solid 4, you know what I mean. War, period, economy, period. A complex idea would be, let's try to do this and actually, you know, okay, of course I can't do a complex idea on the fly because of the very nature of a complex idea. I would have to sit down and take time and effort and work into describing the specific steps. For example, why don't we go ahead and start a war against someone else somewhere within the course of the isles that we live in, and in the doing, deliberately lose that war, probably by turncoating, feeding information to the enemy, etc., and then willingly vote for surrender. Why? Because now it's their problem. This is something that's actually happened in real life. This is a real concept. Because, obviously, you know, the nation suffers for that, and the people of the nation suffer for that. But there are certain individuals who tend to profit from that, especially since most conquering powers, especially in this type of era that we're in, the Victorian era right now, tend to conquer and then leave most of the, let's call them what they are, the middle management in place. So the middle management is the most to benefit from that situation. And that's what we just heard them talking about. And I don't want to overpraise, but I mention this because if we're being completely honest with ourselves, most of the writing in this game is actually surface level, as it is in most games ever. And so it's kind of rare to see something where there's actually a little bit more nuanced take on something, even if it's just a random throwaway conversation between two NPCs at a frickin' ball. Boomerang joke is, you throw it out, and then it just sits there for a while. And then it comes back almost always in an unrelated way. It's the return itself that actually forms the humor. I myself am actually rather fond of boomerang jokes. In fact, I've said several. It's a form of... It's a short-form referential humor, is what it is. Because referential humor primarily works by not explaining it. And by trying to be as precise about how you make it work with the reference. For example, if I just randomly say, Croatia, right now, that's not really funny, because it has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. But let's say that I'm in the middle of a completely unrelated game, and we pull some weird physics crap and get over something we shouldn't. Then I say, Croatia, because I have slotted it in properly. That reference works, even though that's a reference from back here. So a boomerang joke is very similar in construction, just much more short form, right? Anyways. For more discussions on humor, see my MLP series. No, really, we actually discussed it a bit there. Normally I'd say go watch my Spaceballs rumination, but don't, because that was actually the very beginning of me analyzing humor, and it was kind of a crappy rumination. In fact, I should go delete it at some point. What show on the Streamations books am I looking forward to? Hang on. It's a good question. So let's pull up the Streamations really quick. So I'm actually interested in a lot of these shows, so I don't want to sound like I'm not. But the show I most want to cover that I see on the Streamations list, funded or not, is Voyager.
Ready to face the Lord Regent? About time we took care of him, I say. Long past time.
Yeah, we're not finding a lot of the money. Probably because we're not ghosting. I mean, all my ruminations suck. Late to all, we know that.
This is it, Corvo. Your last memories of Dunwall Tower might not be good ones, huh? So maybe you could make up for what happened back then. It'll be a bit of a climb from the waterlogged.
So yeah, a bit of deja vu here.
The Lord Regent built himself quite a place at the top of the tower. Calls it his safe room or something. Crazy if you ask me. Another point of interest while I'm giving you the grand tour, Corvo. Broadcast control station here where all them announcements come from. Might be worth looking into. You ready? Next time I see you, the Lord Regent will be dead. And if not, well, it was an honor to serve with you.
You're on, Samuel. No, specifically the reason I am interested in redoing Voyager, and it is redoing, let's be very clear about that, is because Voyager was my tutorial for covering things. It was the first ruminations, the very first. Everything before that was kind of its own separate thing. So the very concept and the very format of the show started with Voyager, and I was still learning what I was doing. So they're old and they're terrible. As old and terrible things tend to be. No, Babylon 5, I knew what I was doing by then. Babylon 5's fine.
If the plague were to take the entire city, or flames consume it, Dunwall Tower would be the last to fall. The Lord Regent resides here, as do those who await their turn with the execution. But the part is different.
And takes all his meals in his safe room.
He eats way up there, on the roof? Don't he get dizzy stomach?
He doesn't eat.
I'll get this around.
That's mean. That's mean.
Where are you?
Guard!
You know how to use the keyhole, right? No? Well, you know.
Promotion for the men who killed this one.
Oh, where am I? Where am I?
Take out his weapon.
Anyways, let's just redo that.
If the plague were to take the entire city, or flames consume it, Dunwall Tower would be the last to fall. The Lord Regent resides here, as do those who await their turn with the executioner, though their apartments differ. He walks the floor, careful to touch each stone only once, counting. He cannot purge his mind with thoughts. Dunwall Tower is not so tall that it can rise above the stench of death. We have both been here before. Listen, I can hear their every thought. If the plague were to take the entire city, or flames consume it, Dunwall Tower would be the last to fall.
The Lord Regent conducts all his business, all his meals in his safe room.
He eats way up there, on the roof? Don't he get dizzy stomach?
He doesn't eat while looking over the edge, dimwit. Though he has been known to take in the view now and again.
Oh, sure, I get you. I've taken the view in once in a while myself, when no one's looking. Who don't?
What?
You're on, Magister. Good fortune on the job interview. Or else. Really? Act? No, I didn't.
Attention Dunwall Tower personnel. All new assignments report directly to the duty officer.
I've never actually done well in an interview, I think, in my entire life.
Stupid goddamn.
I usually stumble into jobs. Hey, Evo. Thank you for being a part of the show, and not just because of your amazing drawings. I'll put that towards Overlord 1. So let me ask y'all something, real question. Well, nah, let's not, never mind. Change my mind. Let's just do this. Alright, so, one train is going one way at 15 miles an hour. The other train's going the other way at 15 kilometers per hour. One of them leaves at 3:15 p.m. and the other one leaves at 7:18 p.m. At what point in time do the two trains cross? Ironically, Tim's answer is the correct answer. I specifically didn't give you one piece of information. The distance. So the answer is need more information. That's a valid mathematical answer, too. I forget what it's called. I can never think of what that term is, but there is a term for that. It's do not have enough information to solve. X plus Y equals 5. Solve for X. You can't. Not enough info. So this is one of my favorite tricks when it comes to using blank. Probably my favorite trick for blank, if I'm being honest. Yeah, no, it's valuable. Sometimes you... yeah, but that's not... Still not answering, Lord Harmon, but neither way. Actually, there are a couple countries that use both miles per hour and kilometers per hour. I lost my train of thought. Learning to understand that you don't know something and learning how to lose, and I'm saying this as a legitimate statement, were two of the best lessons I ever learned in real life. In my real life. How far back is this? Oh my god. Okay. Just get along with them? I don't think Stark would get along with any of them. Strange, maybe. He's pretty affable.
Attention Dunwall Tower personnel. All new assignments report directly to the duty officer.
I agree, Black Malkin. My own sister, who is a teacher, and I have had discussions about using games as learning tools, and stuff like that is part of that. Shoot. Oh, this is bad.
What was that?
What? Okay. Why didn't that work? Damn it. I mean, everybody looks better than Zigan Glagovich. Blinkerfatch Clargorn. Or, what are the other ones I've heard? Raffle Flash Splotchleby. There we go, there's one.
Attention Dunwall Tower personnel. All new assignments report directly to the duty officer.
The problem is most people who are making edutainment games aren't trying to make a good game. That's the problem. They're trying to make a crap game on a cheap budget and probably don't actually know about things like game design. It's very rare that you actually reach out to a legitimate, game developer who knows what they're doing and say, hey, can you make a game about teaching X, Y, or Z? Whoops. I mean, I don't agree with that, Sovicon, but that's what I'm considering all video games ever made, ever. I think there's no reason we can't get something like the Discovery Tour mode in something, a little bit... other than Discovery Tour mode. I don't know how else to put that. I think we could get another Discovery Tour mode. And even that wasn't perfect, it was just higher quality and better polished than most of that crap tends to be. Enjoy company with your friend. Give me your loot. I mean, okay. I'll tell you the specific game that taught me losing. StarCraft. StarCraft taught me how to accept a loss. And this is why Evo was joking and saying, I already know how to lose, but the point is to be able to accept the fact that you have not succeeded at something. Not just acknowledge it, but accept it. Accept that that's not necessarily a terrible thing. Accept that it's something you either need to work on or need to pull back from. Knowing when to hold them and when to fold them is not a joke. It's a talent. I know you are, Evo, but I'm stating this outright just in case there's anybody either watching the VOD or live who doesn't get that. Being able to say, alright, I need to get better at this, or I need to put this down, is a skill, and I learned that in StarCraft. And that sounds like a joke, but it's not. Yeah, most people don't enjoy losing. I don't enjoy losing, but you have to accept that sometimes. So how would I do a math game? Something involving logistics or something involving economics. And I know those both sound boring, but Counterpoint, Factorio, and Victoria 3. Yeah, math is kind of common in video games. My own niece has been getting better at math by playing Pokemon. That's not a joke either. It is very hard to accept, Loner. It is extraordinarily difficult to accept. Because, partially because of perspective. For example, one of the things that we tend to do is we tend to look at the master. Let's use video games as an example. How many of you have seen a speedrunner play a video game and be really good at it? How many of you have then tried to play that video game and been discouraged by how much harder it is to play that game? Now, you're not seeing the days, weeks, months, years that they have spent perfecting that game. You're seeing the finished product. But for yourself, the person starting the game, the person practicing the game, you're seeing all of the stuff they've already been through. So all you see is them being good and you being bad. Perspective.
This time, Corvo, you'll face your execution instead of slipping away. I'll see to it myself. What did the Empress see in you?
What can I say? I'm better in bed than you are. Anyways, now the consequences of our actions.
Where are you? I know you're here somewhere, scum. Check everywhere.
Assume Shadowlands is inevitable. That sucks. So I would make it the very first thing. Like, it would be vanilla. Everybody expects the beginning of an MMO to suck. So Shadowlands, people are like, oh my god, this is great. And then, think about it. People would spend years pining after Shadowlands. Years down the line, they'd have to release WoW Classic, and it would just be Shadowlands. You know that would happen, too. People are like, oh, I miss the good old days of Shadowlands. Ugh, things were better back then. Sad face. Sweet, sweet Shadowlands.
Oh, stupid.
I miss the cosmos being divided. I miss the Covenant system. When is Blizzard finally going to give us a system as good as the Covenant system? God. Hang on, we've already saved.
What was that? The assassin!
What? What?
Have you given Emily much spiritual education? The Seven Strictures? The Litany and the White Cliff?
No. I lack the qualifications, Overseer. High Overseer.
Perhaps you ought to send her to me, and soon.
What I find funniest about that is if you're paying attention there, Emily's reaction was in a very calm voice. Did you do that, Corvo? Well, see, that's an argument that can be made, Blade Tubal. And I would even agree. But the thing is, in general, the game would get credit for the good design, not because of the fact that the challenge mode exists, if that makes any sense. Those may sound like different things, but the point is, it changes where the credit goes for a positive. Let me use an example that is not this game. Hang on, let me wait for my mono regen. Chrono Trigger. Actually, FF6 follows this too, but Chrono Trigger is a better example. Chrono Trigger can be completed with Chrono at level 1. Now you might think, oh, that's just because you pulled some bonker stuff, and while that's true, one of the things I learned while doing that particular challenge run was how much the game encouraged and supported a low-level run. What I mean by that is it's not that the game was easy, but that the game had options. There were tactics, equipment, combos, items. There were tools given to the player to allow you to accomplish that challenge run. And so those, the good design, get the positive. Make sense? To use another example, the fact that I could play with the objective marker off is good gameplay. Good, in fact, that's specifically good world design, good level design. To go back to the example of the objective markers thing, good luck playing Skyrim without the objective markers. I'm not saying you can't, but nothing in the game helps to inform or support that mode of play. Because the world design, the level design were all designed around the fact that you have an objective marker, not that there's any kind of flow or direction or hallmarks or signs or NPCs or whatever, right? Stayed on the moon. And that's a referential joke. I don't like to give an opinion on something I'm not even sure what it is. I know. Weird. That is not how that should have worked. So I'm going to get to Tim's question in a second, because right now I want to talk about voiced protagonists. I had a thought off camera during my lunch break while I was shoveling food down my throat as fast as I could, and still being late to return from lunch. By the way, I'm putting very serious thought into discontinuing the highlight reels, because it's just taking up so much of my time at this point. And I'm not sure anybody even watches them. So, during the lunch break, I was thinking about the whole silent protagonist thing. And while a lot of people point to Gordon Freeman, and, you know, that's kind of the example of the good silent protagonists, the more I think about it, the more I think it's really hard for me to find another silent protagonist that really works for me, with the possible exception of Chell. And even that one's kind of a... And it sort of clicked with me because there's a game recently which sort of proved my point. Now, I have not personally played either game, but there are two games, one of which does not have, one of which has a silent protagonist, and one of which has a fully voiced protagonist. And I think the addition of the voice is a universal net positive, gross positive even, to the game in question. I am, of course, referring to Dead Space 1. Now, I, of course, have played Dead Space 2. And Dead Space 2 has a voice protagonist. But throw that out the window for a second. Ignore that for a moment. Dead Space 1, no voice. Dead Space 2, Dead Space 1 remake, voice. And the improvement. I've actually seen a fair amount of cutscenes for it because a couple of people I have seen have been sharing some of the voicing and some of the dialogue that he's been saying. And it's just, oh my god, that adds so much personality there. My personal favorite tidbit is from Mandalore Gaming, shared this bit, where he will say things in reaction to, for example, running out of ammo in the middle of a fight. And he says it brilliantly. Or, you know, when he's talking about how to interact with a specific mechanism. He's like, aha, I can go work on this mechanism. And there's like a degree of pride in his voice. Little tidbits like that. It's better across the board. And that's sort of my point. I'm not saying that you can't do no protagonist voicing. I'm saying that I think at this point in time, not only am I not in favor of it, but more to the point, I think it's substantially harder to pull off properly. Even Dragon Age Origins, which does not have a blank slate character, as Evo asked about earlier, but instead has a character which you yourself define, in my honest and frank opinion, would be substantially better if they had a good voice. And I have to add that good part, because that's the problem. You need to have good voice acting. I shouldn't have to say that. It actually irritates me that I have to add the caveat, it has to be good. But it has to be good. But I would be willing to say at this point in my life that good voice acting being added, this is the area. This is the area. Good voice acting being added to a work will always be better than a silent protagonist, in my opinion. Put bluntly, a properly voiced Gordon Freeman would work better than a non-voiced Gordon Freeman. Let's just put that into direct terminology. Dragon Quest XI, Chrono Trigger. I know there's no voices in Chrono Trigger in general. Until we do the theater, of course. Or rewrite. You get it. You get it. Other really terrible streams? Halo. Mostly Halo 1, but it was bad for a decent chunk of time there. Well, that's terrible.
And you. I'm a little disappointed, Corvo. It's like you've gone out of your way to be brutal. It's been interesting traveling with you, but this is the last time you'll see me, sir. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Samuel.
Visit Emily comes out of this all right.
Oh, she will, because this game isn't really going to be... This playthrough isn't going to be canon.
That bastard's done me in. I should have killed them all when I had the chance.
Don't say that, my lord.
First my brothers, now me. It's my own fault. And now Cousin Celia's going to inherit. That's the worst of it. I've been a decent captain. A little slow on the draw yesterday, I have to say. But decent.
Yes, my lord. Sorry, my lord.
I wish I had some sleep darts. What was that? Yeah, we're gonna get to top and Sauron's gonna be like, I see you. Could you bring me a lozenge? We throw one into the eye and it's like, thank you. Oh, there we go. And this is actually what Sauron's real voice sounds like. He's just had a bit of a sore throat for the last couple of millennia. But now he can speak properly to all the orcs. Thank you for that. So, Brill, I need you, Saruman, stop laughing. I need you to build me an army worthy of Mordor. Thank you. Now, I need an army of cat girls. I want to make sure they're all very pretty. No, not like that. Get your mind out of the gutter, Saruman. Now, Well, what am I supposed to do? You killed her. You killed her. You... I don't know, I don't know half these words, I'm sorry.
Things are bad. Could the city get any worse? Indeed, I believe so.
You heard him. Okay. 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 Now let's see if we can do anything for this poor guy, because holy crap. I've set up this device to stimulate the whale's nervous system with the intention that doing so will prolong oil secretions and squeeze more of the precious fluid from each catch. Unfortunately, the device can lead to the instant death of the beast if too much power is used, filling both tanks, and activating the device extinguishes all life function in an instant. A painless and quick experience for the whale, but a loss of additional revenue that can be generated by sustaining it as long as possible. Anton Sokolov. What the crap? Okay. Okay, we need some whale oil. We need to kill this poor thing. It's okay. I think we've actually cleared the room, so we can just do this quickly and quietly. Odd. It's okay. I'm sorry that this is the best I can do. We're gonna pretend we get you on the frickin' Can we put the whales on the evacuation ship? All in favor? Like, we got like 5 people on there. I think we have room for the whales. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we'll get like an aquatic evacuation ship. That's a thing. I am so sorry. Funny story. So, the FF9 theater's going live, and I'm doing like a live rebroadcasting of it. You're probably thinking, why would you ever want to do that, Laura? Well, it turns out one of the actors just could not get their lines in. So I decided, screw it, I'll just go ahead and do their lines myself live. So what was happening was I was streaming the theater, and then anytime whoever it was, I think it was Kuja, whoever it was started talking, I would just talk on stream, and that's gross. And do the lines for them. Cool. That's awkward and stressful, and the whole time I'm feeling like a complete failure for not having gotten the lines in. But, you know, it's cool. It's cool. Everything's cool. But then it gets to a certain point in the story, and I realize, as one of the characters isn't talking, oh god. Oh god, I actually didn't have another character's voice acting lines. Jonathan Archer isn't being voiced. Holy crap. And I'm in the middle of like this blind panic because I have dropped the ball so hard that a major character did not actually get lines put in before the theater actually went live. Now, if you happen to know who Jonathan Archer is, congratulations, you've already noticed the problem here. For those of you who don't, Archer is the main character of Star Trek Enterprise.
I know what this is. A makeshift interrogation chair. Roswell must be using it to
lady?
coerce employees.
Lady, could you please? Okay, thank you. Hey, what's up?
What do you want to know that's worth crossing a man like me?
I want to know about a ship named Delilah. What's behind the name?
Choke on your own spit.
You realize where you are, right? Like, you know how this is gonna go. Can we skip the preliminaries? For those of you who don't understand the process of making the highlight reels, I'll go ahead and talk it out so you can understand a little bit. The idea is, as I'm going through, I actually have a completely separate custom program set up that allows me to essentially take timestamps throughout the VOD. And every time I hit that button, it creates a timestamp saying, hey, here's a moment to highlight, right? So, like, if I'd hit that button right now, there'll be a text file somewhere with a little thing that says 30 minutes and 31 seconds or whatever it was, right? Then what I do is I immediately after every given VOD, so during my lunch break and during when I should be eating dinner, I sit down, drag that VOD that I just did into the file, into Premiere, and then go and manually grab the clips I need based on the timestamps. That's the method. It's as quick as I think it's getting. I don't think there's a more streamlined method than that. Well, anyways.
Get him, boys!
Hi.
Let's get this guy!
Hi. Nice gun. I think I'll take it. Did they throw the head back?
Considered suspicious and confronted immediately.
Of course, now I can't find any debris. It's the bottle, anything? Bueller. Where's that head? Damn. Oh, nope, nope, nope. There it is. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Did you see that? It interrupted its physics. Whoops. Wrong button. Wrong button. Hey, Kuchiki. It's okay. One of these days, I was promised I'd get ahead. Alright, so... Nope. Okay, hang on. Can I not attach it to the head? There we go. Now go kill the rat. There you go. Good boy. Good boy. Boop. I'm entirely too happy about that. Well, we're out of stun mines. So, this is for you, Evo, if you're still watching.
Banging around. I give up. You gotta wait. Somebody give me a hand!
Oh no. No, don't kill me, please, please, I'll beg you. I'm begging you! I want you to picture something for just a second. I want you to picture the twins from Wolfenstein Youngblood, Dream Whisperer. Now, I want you to imagine that someone somewhere played Youngblood and was like, well, the problem is they didn't do it right. So, I could do better. And then they cranked everything bad about the Youngblood twins just as high as that dial can go. And then they got the most screeching, ear-unpleasanting voice actors that they could for them. And that's the Calypso twins. And once again, there's no joy in my voice. I am not kidding. I'm not making levity. These are statements of fact. This is Borderlands 3. They're the main villains, and you hear from them constantly. Oh, and you know the really funny part about this? You ready for this? You remember how I mentioned earlier that people tend to forget the good, or people tend to forget the bad? Well, the related thing to that is people tend to fixate on one thing, right? The Calypso twins are what people tend to fixate on in Borderlands 3. But they are, truthfully stated, only one of a giant array, a sea of terrible, terrible story. There is so much garbage to wallow through, so much muck you have to push through that has nothing to do with the Calypso twins in Borderlands 3 story. There's a quest, side quest, we 100% of the game, that you have to do, which is trying to make fun of Tommy Wiseau, I think I'm saying that right, and The Room. And I want you to imagine that someone somewhere said, I've got an idea. Let's parody The Room by doing The Room. I actually need to come up with a term for that, because I don't think there's a professional term for that. Yeah, exactly, Takoida. And that's a damn shame, because Pax was playing him, and he was the funniest character in the game, which isn't saying much. We kept insisting he talk to NPCs, because he'd usually have the better responses. Anyways... There's a... I do not, Alex. But then again, I don't like The Room. There's... How do I phrase this? It's a type of parody that fiction does periodically, where there's no parody involved. No effort, no work, no mockery, no amusement, nothing, right? Nothing is done to change it, or move it up, or develop it, or whatever. It's just the bad thing. All they do is the bad thing. Yeah, at that point, it's just straight up reference. And there's so many of those in Borderlands 3. The Room one comes to mind immediately because we were all the players, were making fun of that mission as we were going through it. But God, there's just, it's a cavalcade. I want you to picture someone backs up a dump truck and just empties out a giant pile of dog feces onto your face. And that's how Borderlands 3 tends to treat its references. Our most common joke throughout the playthrough was, hey, this is a thing. Isn't that funny? And it was just whatever the latest reference was, because there's just so many of them. And when I say dump truck, by the way, I'm not talking about the ones you've probably seen in real life. I'm talking about the ones you probably haven't seen in real life. The ones you need a ladder to get up into the cockpit of. The ones whose tires can literally smash an entire car by themselves. That is the quantity of references I am talking about here. Like, I'm really excited about the recruit mechanic in FF2. And the job swapping in FF3. Not sure what to do with FF4 yet. What is he doing?
Dowd. I grow sick of this assassin. Any shudder of awe in their voices, like stupid schoolgirls.
Don't worry, love. The hounds will warn us.
Flagand, I am not evil. What do I have to do to convince people I'm not evil? My sister just said, stop being evil. Okay, help me out, chat. What's an evil person, preferably fictional, that doesn't have a goatee?
Stop! Sister! Over here! Get behind him!
Voldemort. That's true. Voldemort didn't have a goatee. No, I never gotta run. Hey, do you like grenades? I like grenades. Oh, she does like grenades. All right. Highlight reel. I'm gonna give the scores first. And then I'm going to remember that I need to actually put the scores on the comparison sheet so I can do the side-by-side. So we're going to do that. We're going to has brain. Somewhere in here. Somewhere there is a brain. Hypothetically. I've been told that. I mean, think about it. Have you ever seen someone's brain? Can you really prove it if you haven't seen it, honestly? If you see a brain, it's not a good sign. Yeah, it means you're watching Velma. Anyways. So. Let's start with the points. Story score. Net +6. I'm not sure what I think about that. Because obviously anything positive is positive. That's how the system works. But that is simultaneously higher and lower than I was expecting. Higher because I've never been particularly fond of the story in this game. But lower because that brickwork is so good. Brickwork was just holding up the story score. That is 0.28 story pluses per hour at a ratio of 63.64%. Gameplay. Net +29. Which, for those of you familiar with the system, is really big. No, brickwork is always story. In fact, let's see, how high is that? Okay, it's not quite as high as I thought in terms of net gameplay. Still, that's like 20th most gameplay of a game. That's pretty good, actually. Considering, you know, some of the giants we've got. Actually, nope, that's not 20th. 19, 18, that's like 17th highest. So that's actually even better. Holy crap. Surprisingly good game design, with a couple of noteworthy exceptions. That is 1.34 pluses per hour to gameplay at a ratio of 91.43%, which is bonkers good. Now here's the deal. Plague Tale Innocence got +36 to story. So Plague Tale Innocence has a higher golden number. I'm just going to get that out of there. But I'm mentioning that because a lot of that is predicated upon the strength of the story complementing the gameplay. I do absolutely think, and I said this earlier, I do absolutely think that this game has much better level design than Plague Tale Innocence. And in general, that's what makes it so awesome. +29. I mean, what else do I need to say that? That is a huge score. However, because the story lagged behind so much, that does mean our final golden number is, drumroll please, pop neck. Pop neck the other way. Do a jig. Lifeless jig. Lifeless jig. There we go. 89.99. So, obviously, I wasn't enjoying myself as much as I thought I would, which is, among other things, confusing. I mean, it's Dishonored, for God's sakes. But I think at least part of that is because of how I was essentially deliberately playing through the vanilla game. And part of it was the aforementioned unchanging nature of it. And I think that ultimately is one of the reasons why I tend to hold Dishonored 2 a little bit higher on the gameplay axis. Because both overall... two of the three overall styles of gameplay in Dishonored 2 I enjoyed quite a bit, whereas I only enjoyed one of the styles of gameplay in Dishonored 1. This ties back into the question Black Malkin asked earlier. Did I like the DLC levels more or less? So the answer is absolutely yes. The only reason the DLC isn't the majority of that score is because it's relatively short. The density can only count for so much, right? But I was enjoying myself for... honestly, I'd say basically every DLC level. There's only one I didn't get into. Just one. And that was the flooded set district when we were retaking our area. Everything else was awesome. Everything else was enjoyable, fun. You probably didn't notice my mood immediately lifted up when we were doing the whaling plant, the processing plant. Immediately slid right back into it, and it was just like, oh, this is so much fun, and I've got all these options. I'm going to warp around, I'm going to see what's going on here, and I'm going to jump down here and do this, and get this thing, and I can go do this little side thing, but I can go over here, and we only killed the one guy, you know, etc., etc., etc. It was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed myself greatly. And I kept chewing on that as we were going through the DLCs. And the more we went through, the more I realized what I was enjoying. Obviously, there was some expansion effect here. That's why I call it that. But what I was enjoying was it felt more like Dishonored 2. In terms of what was placed, right? Like the nitty-gritty specifics, the stuff that I can't summarize for you. What enemies were placed where, how they reacted to what their patrol patterns were, the specifics of line of sight in which parts of which areas of the level, and which items were where, and just all of the options you had to go through it. It felt more like a Dishonored 2 level, and I enjoyed every moment of it, right? Except for the level I mentioned earlier. That was true, especially my second favorite level, which was actually in the second game, or the second DLC, excuse me, which was the Dead Eel stage, the one where we decided to take the deal for the physician. I enjoyed basically everything about that. The way I didn't even get to comment on it because by that point I was already on the phone with my sister. But the way in which the witches, which were obviously a trap, anybody could tell that coming from a mile away, or how we had to navigate the sewers, or they started using elevation better. Like, elevation was not like a magic win button in most cases, like it was in the vanilla game. Instead, it was like a gradient thing where you had a little bit more time to not get detected, but it wouldn't last forever. I'm explaining myself so badly, but I hope this makes some sense. The terrain design was just better across the board. And I enjoyed, essentially, no killing, no detecting my way up to the dude until I rang the bell. I was like, hey, yeah, let's go. Let's go walk in. And I love the fact that you can just kill the dude and take the thing. Or you could do the deal we did. Or, and I think this is how this works, like, walk in and get rid of the physician, or ring the bell and pull the physician out. And then go right back in while the physician is distracted and say, hey, what can I do for you? And then take his deal. I think I'm understanding how that would work correctly. And there's probably some other little, minor branches and permutations there, because that whole level was awesome. I love that level. I also can't think of any negatives to give the DLC. Make of that what you will.